is Annie Hayes, and my son Christopher Hayes had a catastrophic car accident, which he had a brain injury, which was very bad. We didn't know if he would survive or not. He was in hospital for about 12 months. When we met George, his whole attitude was treating Christopher with dignity, which hadn't been really done up to that moment. And I would call his attitude a vision for people to live, to fulfill themselves as much as possible and to live with the greatest amount of dignity as possible. And that runs through his entire organisation. So for a person who has the smallest of abilities, they would be encouraged to achieve the greatest thing they could in their life.
I think that was one of the best things about George's program was the flexibility of it. As I said before, as Ben's needs changed, we could change the focus of the program. Ben had some access to 4MBS when he was at high school. One of the special ed teachers had realised that he was interested in music and classical music, which was unusual because none of the family were. But so she had made a link there with the manager at 4MBS, and we were able to take Ben up there, or she would take him up there, and he did various tasks like helping to clean and prepare donated classical records for sale and things like that. And it was only as time went on that for the Ben's program with George, he was able to have support and continue doing that over the years. And it just meant that he could get to this station and he could do his thing without us involved, and he really enjoyed that because it was a part of his life that was his own special little area that the family didn't have to be involved in and didn't have to help him and knew nothing of, and he would tell us very little of. But it just got better and better up there, and he loved the social side of it. But eventually they realised that he had quite a great knowledge of classical music that he was keeping all to himself, and eventually he was able then to be given tasks like compiling programs. So we'd ask him to do an hour's concert or 2 hours of a particular type of music, and he would laboriously do that on paper. So then they said, well, maybe you can get on and do it on the computer, and then he's done that, and he's very good with memory and timing, so he has to time these programs to perfection, and he'll go in and sort them out if it's just 1 minute too long for his hour, but has gained a lot just through his volunteer work there. So it's been a great part of his life. But we wouldn't have been able to keep it up, I don't think. We wouldn't have been able to get him there and couldn't support him through this activity.
I was approached by a number of parents to design a different model of service delivery, which was more focused at an individual's strengths as well as their weaknesses, but looking at them from a dynamic goals-based point of view. So I set up a service that was one-on-one, individualized and tailored to each different person's needs, attributes, strengths, weaknesses, and long-term, short-term and medium-term goals.
With the right support, I reckon anything's achievable, especially when it's George and his team behind you, because George just does not take the answer no.
It just made us feel more relaxed about the future and what Ben could achieve.
Well, if George and his team hadn't stepped in, Eva would probably be sitting at home. It's so flexible, and that's why I like this service. And George and his team have made it easy for Eva to realise that there's more out there than just home. She's got plans now, which is something that she never had before.
Yeah, I'm thinking of moving out of home with George's help in about 4 or 5 years. It's really made me more confident, like Mum said, that I feel like it feels really good that I'm starting to get out and not be at home where I'm doing nothing, where Mum would have to sit at home and look after me. Like you with George, I can do anything I want to do.
My name's Leanne and I'm a support worker with the organisation. I am passionate about my role. I love getting out there and helping people reach their goals. It may be little bit by little bit, but as time progresses, we get there. The culture with this organisation is there is so much support. There is so much support with this organisation.
It is a very satisfying and fulfilling job in my perspective, because you're constantly working with people, and at times where they have physical needs, for example, pain and other needs, and I think it is a very dignified work to be in when you are helping them to get better or to reach their potential.
And I love to see people come from struggling, insecure, to finding the confidence. That's the reward. It's just helping people.
George, from the outset, wanted a service that could be really responsive to people's needs. His capacity to see what people needed, what they needed most urgently, and then to provide a support service that responded to those needs. He was able to do that because he got to know people well, and that's remained a hallmark of this business, the capacity to understand people, to step into their shoes, to appreciate their experience. So he keeps the people at the centre of what the business does. So you might say the hallmark of what George has wanted to do and his team is to provide a service that's highly relevant. That is, it responds to the most urgent needs of people. It then does so in a highly individualised way. So the support arrangements that people have are all uniquely different.
I find it extremely important that every person has an opportunity in society. That every person has equal opportunity, that every human being is valued, and that every human being has an intrinsic feeling or knowledge that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve in their journey of life.
In discovering who people really are, you counteract the stereotype, but you also help that person discover who they are as well, and to find that place in the community. You might say a valued role brings you a sense of place, a sense of belonging. It brings you your identity, so the person themselves discovers who they really are, but other people get to see them afresh as well. Now, wow, I never imagined that he could do that.
I used to have long discussions with my staff about one simple aspect. And I used to say to my staff, we are into creating independence. You've done your best job when you don't have a client. When your client doesn't need you and says goodbye, I don't need to see you again, you've achieved your client's goals and you've done a great job. That's what we want to do. The outcomes for government in particular, and insurance companies and other organizations that pay money to help these people get better and to develop and rehabilitate themselves are exponential. As our clients get more and more independent, they are less and less dependent. And as their dependence decreases, their demands on support decrease exponentially. The humanness of reconnecting with someone who was in a hospital, who was a service recipient, who was excluded from society, being in an institution, they come back to their home, they're then taught how to regain their skills and competencies, and then once their independence rises and their confidence rises, they actually say we need less and less support. As a service, that's what we aim for. And we challenge our clients, we up the ante. We want to withdraw. Gradually, there's a safety net, but by withdrawing, our clients are empowered to stand on their own 2 feet, so to speak.